I can't wait to talk about one of my favorite cartoons, SpongeBob SquarePants. And the timing's perfect because this is the 25th anniversary of Nicktoons. Among the other shows, SpongeBob has managed to reign supreme. While this is a downside for many fans who feel the quality has declined over the years, it's hard to deny that SpongeBob has become synonymous with pop culture. But which episodes do I find the funniest? Which ones are the most entertaining and rewatchable? For this list, you might notice that the episodes that I choose come from the 3rd season and below. Now the reason might seem obvious, but believe it or not, I had more time to watch the episodes from the 3rd season below, more so than the episodes after the movie. The episodes on my list, remember, are over a decade old. Therefore, my reasoning and understanding of why I find these episodes appealing are more detailed than what I would say for a recent episode. Unlike most people, I still follow the show, even through the crappy moments.
Okay!
I'll even go as far as to say the 9th season was a welcome improvement, especially with the show's creator becoming more heavily involved. Do I believe that there's been a decline in quality with changing writers and changing artists and art styles? Yeah, but that doesn't keep me from tuning in. So who knows, with enough time I could probably follow this list up with more recent additions. For now, let's talk about the episodes that I find the funniest, rewatchable, and overall most entertaining. This is the Cartoon Palooza's top 5 best episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob meets the Strangler. In this episode, SpongeBob's in trouble when a known criminal known as the Strangler has it out for him. He decides to hire a bodyguard who just so happens to be the Strangler in a silly disguise that leads to plenty of funny gags. What seems like an easy win for the Strangler becomes more complicated as SpongeBob unwillingly annoys him. Not that we're surprised by that. So a predator tries to capture his prey, but constantly gets fooled and cartoon antics ensue. Where have I heard that before? This episode is the closest to feeling like a Chuck Jones cartoon, which says a lot since SpongeBob is already heavily influenced by the Looney Tunes. You have a great blend of back and forth banter with the brilliant timing the earlier seasons were known for. However, the biggest irony is that while the Roadrunner or Bugs Bunny would know that they're being hunted, SpongeBob doesn't seem to notice his terribly disguised bodyguard is trying to kill him.
Don't mention it, Strangler. Bodyguard.
Or so we think. Little hints are dropped, making us question if SpongeBob is really this oblivious, which makes it funnier to watch. It reminds me of Always Sunny, how we have a character named Dennis who throughout the show seems well behaved, but eventually drops a hint that he might be a serial killer.
This is what all the work has been for. We're gonna follow our victim, okay, then we're gonna jump her. And then I'm gonna strangle her and you're gonna chop her into pieces.
Okay, but what are we really gonna do?
Keeping the character's motivations ambiguous can lead to hilarious consequences, which is what makes this episode one of the funnier ones I've seen. The Krusty Krab training video. The title, it don't mince words. It's exactly what it sounds like. We have a training video that potential Krusty Krab employees, i.e. nobody, would watch and understand a little more about what they're getting themselves into. I love how it embodies the aspects of your typical training video. Personal hygiene, history, pop quizzes, dumb acronyms, you name it. I think I appreciate this episode more as an adult than I did as a kid, now that I've actually gone to job orientations like 20 or 30 times already. But even then, I still found it funny as a kid. Eventually when it plays to the fourth wall breaking moments when characters interact with the narrator.
The ceiling is right, Squidward. You're not a very good employee.
Who would have imagined one of the best episodes of the series being a training video? As I mentioned before, kids aren't looking for careers or going to job orientations, but with the right execution and silly antics we've come to expect from our characters, this takes what could have been a terrible idea and scores big time. Band Geeks. In this episode, Squidward is asked by his rival Squilliam to take over as band director for an upcoming event. Knowing that he has become a failure in life, Squidward tries to put together a band by taking everybody he knows and giving them instruments. And when I say he brings anybody, he takes 90% of the characters on the show up to this point. It's a fun episode that fits all the characters we know and love. Mrs. Puff, Larry, Plankton, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, and even my leg guy. Sadly, they missed a golden opportunity with this character. Let's see if we can find that. There we go, that's better. It's not often we see an ensemble episode unless it's a TV special or movie. It's rare to have every supporting character share the screen and have a substantial part in this episode. It's refreshing to see it done during this episode and to see everybody work together on the same thing. How it comes together at the end of the episode provides us with one of the show's finest moments. It's a fun ensemble episode that will make you cheer a sweet victory.
Do you think we should take this stuff off the walls?
No way, SpongeBob. We're not getting paid to move stuff.
Patrick, we're not getting paid at all.
Well, that's what I said. We're not getting paid, and that's final.
We go from having almost every character on the show to just 2 or 4. Mostly SpongeBob and Patrick nonetheless. In this bottle episode, SpongeBob and Patrick are forced into painting Mr. Krabs' house under one condition: to not get any paint on anything else other than the wall. The kicker, the walls are completely covered in kitsch. If they fail, they will endure the punishment of... What works about this episode is how limited it is. Bottle episodes deal with characters stuck in one location for a majority of the episode. Therefore, the strength comes from the interaction of the characters, which is the element that works the best in this episode. Each scene is another challenge for our heroes to overcome. Despite being in a closed space for stakes that, let's be honest, are not that high, SpongeBob and Patrick react to each scenario in different ways that reflect their different personalities. Episodes like this show how even the best of friends can test each other, and despite everybody assuming Pat and SpongeBob are equally challenging, both characters have their separate limits. And seeing each one push to that limit leads to funny exchanges, as well as one of my favorite time card jokes on the show. It's a funny episode that takes extreme characters and sticks them in a not so extreme scenario that somehow becomes extreme. Ripped pants. I know what you're thinking. This is one of the first episodes of the series. What makes this episode so good when this is so early in the show where they haven't figured out their overall style? Not only do I watch this episode countless times and get a new level of enjoyment out of it, but it was the first episode to make me a fan of the show. SpongeBob is at the beach with Sandy. He becomes jealous when both she and Larry are weightlifting. This leads to him ripping his shorts, which causes beachgoers to find him hilarious. Thinking he's onto something, SpongeBob spares no expense ripping his shorts for others' amusement, but eventually takes it too far, causing the beachgoers to turn on him. Let's go back for a second. SpongeBob is trying to impress people with a joke he takes too far. Wait, what? SpongeBob cares what other people think? Isn't SpongeBob all about being strange and not caring what other people think about him? There's a side to him where he wants to feel accepted? That's a character trait brought up every once in a while, but never elaborated. It makes me see SpongeBob not as a one-note character, but as a guy with needs, desires, and even insecurities. Therefore, adding some complexity to him. In some ways, SpongeBob pining for attention makes him no better than Plankton, who people see as a more relatable character, on a show full of one-note characters. Eventually, when SpongeBob realizes what he's doing is wrong, we get the first original song of the series and arguably one of my favorites. I think it's obvious when an episode sticks a chord with you, you often have to relate to it. Growing up, I've tried to be funny and continuously crack jokes at people, even when it was inappropriate. I would keep going until it got on everybody's nerves and realized there's a time and place to be funny. So it was nice to see a leading character deal with some issues I had to deal with, which makes it easier for me to relate to him and understand an issue I dealt with. I know I'm dragging on a bit, but I know most people don't like the morality episodes, especially when most people watch SpongeBob for the silly antics. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great, and it's the quality that has made the show last as long as it has. But every once in a while, having an episode deal with a positive message is welcome, and there are plenty of gags that are still hilarious. For me, it's all about balance, and this is what this episode has. The silliness, the original tune, and even a nice moral that makes this one of my all-time favorite episodes. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 favorite SpongeBob episodes. Which one's your favorite? Comment and let me know. I'm Joey.T.Cartoon.P, and thanks for watching this countdown on the Cartoon Palooza. Excuse me.